addiction is a word that gets thrown around a lot. Let's take a look at two main ways, two causes that we find ourselves enslaved by this behavior or substance in our life. The first of which is genetic. Some of us here on earth have a genetic predisposition to addiction, let's say like alcohol. That is to say, if you have this biological deficit of a reward circuitry with your brain, you're twice as likely to become addicted, okay? Twice as likely to become addicted. Doesn't mean you are, it means that there's a likelihood, a greater likelihood that you will. I would encourage you, if there's any doubt in your mind as to how far in this course of addiction you are, that you do a little self-testing. Go on the internet and start searching for some alcohol self-test or some substance abuse, narcotic self-test, or whatever area you're dealing with. There's going to be something there. Sexual addiction has its own self-test. Look up Patrick Carnes, Dr. Patrick Carnes, and you'll have all kind of questions you can answer to kind of give you an indication if you're headed in the wrong direction. Some of us lack the capacity to behave in such a way that we're not going to get enamored with something and eventually enslaved by it. So the first is genetic. The second way that we become addicted to either substances or behavior is really through learning or being conditioned in life. We all have different external triggers that go off, stressors, inability to cope, inability to understand, social skills, trauma in our life, dealing with failure. Some of us are not good at that. We don't like to deal with confrontation. We have personality types that are not a good mix with the environment in which we find ourselves. We come up in poor atmospheres, dysfunctional atmospheres, and when we don't develop the skills to deal with these realities, we tend to want to escape or anesthetize or avoid the pain or feel something better, or some of us just want to feel something. We lack courage, we have fear, and we just want to replace that void with something that's going to give us some pleasure. So genetic and learned or conditioned behavior. These are the ways that we try to cope in life. And sometimes these coping skills, when not developed, become full-blown addictions. It also reveals in us a deficit. There's a hole, or there's a hurt, or there's a pain in every person you meet. How we fill that void becomes very important the bigger that void gets, because eventually what we fill it with will overtake our life. Because whatever it is we focus on in life will enlarge. And when we focus on our deficit and try to fill it with something that's not going to make us whole and healthy, we're going to become addicted. Then we don't have an issue. The issue has us. We don't have substances. The substances control us. We don't have a behavior. The behavior dictates our future. And herein lies the two sources of an addictive type personality disorder. So let's continue through these videos and see if we can't further educate ourselves and inspire us maybe to make some changes.